uh name of that shit, fucking that Xbox account. Whatever I set that password is probably the password to my Windows now. Hey, I got a video about the. I just recorded a video. This shit gonna be hard. I'm about to give some advice to women, and this topic right here, I'm about to drop. I'm about to spill the beans for women on why men manipulate women for sex.
That's on your John.
What do you say?
That's gonna be on your show.
Yeah, that's gonna be on my channel.
Oh,
That's
all
just
right.
what the fuck it was, Neo.
That's what it was.
Yep. When I made that Xbox login, it changed the password on my computer to that. So check this out. This is what happens a lot of the time, right? So if you're like, so I was thinking of making the title of the video at first, indecisiveness leads to gaslighting, right? But I spread it out to a lot more than just that, right? So in this video, I'm talking a lot about positive feedback loops versus negative feedback loops,
Mm.
and also about like energy and stuff like that, right? So one thing I've noticed is if you create a negative feedback loop when it comes to what it takes for a man to gain sexual access to you, then that's what men are going to do, right?
Mm.
How did you just come in here and start talking about sex when people were talking about computer issues?
Which
I'm about to call the big bitches. Nah, I gotta apologize to the big bitches. Y'all was right.
Well, we supposed to be talking about should a father be financially responsible for his kids if the mother's dating or married? That's what we're supposed to be talking about.
You're supposed to talk about what?
If should a father be financially responsible for his child if the mother is dating or married?
Of course, that's his child.
Yeah, I agree with that. That was fucking crazy.
Yeah,
We had such a big
that's a fucking no-brainer.
we had such a big debate about this on social media, y'all. Y'all went. I was like, y'all,
Why
I
you
can't
keep?
believe this is a debate.
I already told you, Keisha. You like arguing with peons. So I have no sympathy.
Yeah, like I don't see how any man will say no to that.
Well,
Now, if you were talking
like
about should
child
the
support
father have an
wise,
opportunity to opt out of
they were
responsibilities before like abortion stages, that's a good debate. But
talking more about like child support situations. Like, I think their biggest point or problem was the child support situation. Like, should a man be able to stop paying, have the option to stop paying for child support if the woman is married or dating?
Well, I'll say this right here, right? When it comes to that type of situation, like the child support is going to be like a combination of the overall in the household.
Wait a minute, we can't hear you. It's a lot of shuffling going on.
That wasn't me. That was somebody else.
Ooh, who got the shuffling going on?
I mean,
But I said this: the child support is the overall household income, right? So if a woman makes $200,000 a year, and then she got a man who makes $37,000 a year, she wants them to pay like hella child support off of that shit when she making more and more money. Oftentimes this is petty.
Okay.
So context matters too, right? Because sometimes we'll say that, but then it's a situation where a woman's just being petty. She made like 200K. Her baby daddy made 37K, and then she wants his child support to go up and shit like that. When she really don't even need all that much money to take care of that kid.
Well, yeah, that's when shit is like starts to get petty, and we start having these type of conversations.
I should have just bought me a Mac laptop. I wouldn't be having none of these issues had I bought an Apple laptop and not this PC shit. Cause I gotta update my computer and Google Chrome not working and shit. What the fuck?
Hey, Timothy, how you feel about some men feeling like they shouldn't have to pay child support and things of that nature if the woman has another man around.
I mean, are they millionaires? Like
They
I
need,
said, if they're
kill them.
millionaires,
They need to die.
I said
Any
this.
Damn,
any,
hold on, wait a minute.
any man that says he shouldn't be responsible, fiscally responsible for his own children that he fucked to make because he mad that his baby mama got another dude needs to die. He needs to go get a pistol, put it in his mouth, and swallow that bullet.
I say this too though. If they millionaires and that woman trying to put you in jail behind some child support, you ain't even got a job right now. That's some other shit. Now, context that people probably argue about, I think he should probably try to flip the narrative of the context of that argument.
I did no such thing. Don't do that to me. I just um when they made the post, right, it was just so vague. Like you could have took that so many ways because they didn't have no context like to it. So once we started getting like I started, kind of trolling a couple of them. I started getting real answers like child support and the man being inside the home and women. One of the guys said something about women never having a chance to single moms. I'm sorry, not women, but single moms never really having a chance to get married. So in his mind, it was going to be Tom, Dick, and Harry at the crib and things like that. So I'm like, all right, realistically, most of us single moms, when we want to go dating and we want to go out, we do it probably when the kids are asleep or when they're at school or when you got the fucking kids. Like, most importantly, when you got the fucking kids. That's why she be bitching when you don't come get the kids that weekend. She had plans. So I just didn't. It just sounded like, all right, bitch, I'm bitter, and I'm gonna make sure you never have a real social life outside these kids.
Hey, I'll say this right here too, and it is going, and I agree with the original argument that was said, but I will say this too. If she was a multi-millionaire and the nigga like, oh yeah, this is my kid now, then all right, take care of that motherfucker then.
In
Got the
that
kid over the new
in
nigga
that
dad.
very outlier type of scenario, which is unlikely, then if a dude gonna come in and be a millionaire, he says I'm gonna adopt my kid because if he gonna do that, then obviously I must not be doing shit in the first place. That he feel like he gotta play Captain Save the Baby. So if he adopt my kid, then fuck it. What can you do?
Yeah,
But
that's different.
in a
That
regular scenario though, like what she's talking about, where a nigga working a warehouse driving a forklift, and his baby mama get a boyfriend that work at the Safeway. Now he like, oh, you got a boyfriend? I ain't got to pay child support. That's that nigga responsibility now. That
I
nigga needs to kill himself.
I,
Straight
I,
up.
agree with- well, I don't even gonna say kill yourself. I agree with what you're saying. It's like at the end of the day, that's your responsibility. But it's one of them things where that is an outlier, but I didn't seen that shit happen before, right? It's like, oh, I know this motherfucker. You know? See, to me, my father probably would have killed the dude. Like when I was little, one time, like my little brother's dad had me calling him dad when I was little. Because my dad lived in South Carolina and I was living in Indianapolis, right? When I was little, my dad almost came up, shot that man. Like a real nigga, you can't be having no other man having that kid call him dad. A real nigga, he'll kill him.
I mean, that's and my I don't mean to like totally personalize this, but I'm gonna be personal. That's the main reason why I didn't let my stepdaughter call me mom, because I'm not that I was scared of her mama, but I didn't want her to lose the retrospect and the respect for her mama that was there longer than the hell I was. Like, because I see a lot of people try to take, the mom or the primary parent role, and I wasn't trying to do none of that as a step parent. That's still your mama. Matter of fact, don't even call me mom. Call me Miss Keisha. Fuck that.
Yeah, that Miss Keisha, that's the move right there. Call
That's
him Miss.
the move, right? Like, call me Miss Keisha. Like, we ain't even doing that.
Yeah, you can like for the wrong person lose your life for real.
I feel like getting in my jammies right now. I feel like that's the move. That-
I'm gonna get
y'all
on
really
camera.
over. I think y'all really overcomplicating or overthinking. No, let me take that back. I think y'all underthinking the scenario about
maybe
the
we are.
the
Yes.
yeah. You're actually underthinking the scenario. What typically happens is, let's say Keisha, you got your baby daddy, and he's taking care of his kid.
Right.
Now you got your new boyfriend, which is a serious boyfriend, and and you end up having another child by your new boyfriend, potentially even your husband.
Mhm.
What what typically happens in those scenarios is subconsciously the new guy is going to start practicing favoritism. It's I've seen it a gazillion times. That's what happens because this is my child, and this is your children from another relationship. So even if the other dad is an active dad, it's going to cause a little confusion. A relative of mine got killed in a situation like that, where like literally lost his life, where uh where he was he was he was he was uncle. He wasn't dad. He was uncle. So the girl had met another guy, working class guy. The guy had came in, was doing the best he could to take care of his kid and her kid. I think it was three kids in total. Two, one from the previous guy and two from the current guy. Anyway, long story short, Uncle has a lot of money. Uncle was taking care of her first child. Uncle is Uncle is doing the shit like, you know, knowing they can't afford to buy all the kids Jordans, but he buying his kid two pair of Jordans. Or he buying the first kid two pair of Jordans. Come to find out, this not uncle. This is biological father. So the two men end up having, some disagreements. Like like niggas go do. So nigga go be like, well, nigga, you can't take care of your family. Maybe I should be taking care of your family. That
Yeah,
type of shit. Which is petty as fuck, but
that's a
niggas
setup.
go do it.
That's a setup for a bullet. But I'm confused.
Right.
Harvey, you said uncle is really daddy. I'm confused. Can you break?
Uncle, yeah, uncle is really daddy. They've been playing it like daddy ain't around, and this guy that's helping out with the kid is uncle of the ain't around daddy, but it's really biological father. Now it come to the light.
How
Like
did you play that off? I don't. So just the woman said that, or the man played along with it too?
both of them did.
That's kind of weird. They was just
Both
trying to
of them
protect
did.
the ego.
I don't know who they were trying to protect, but they had ran with it for a while. And so it finally comes out that this is biological father of the child. And the two dudes get into a couple verbal arguments, and uh just all kind of shit. He buying his kid really nice clothes that he know that the mom and the new husband can't afford to buy the other two kids, that type of shit. You feel what I'm saying? And so it's driving a wedge. So the two guys end up getting into a fist fight one day. And regular old fist fight. Few days later, he goes back over there again. Relative goes back over there to do something for his kid. This time it ain't a fist fight. This time the other guy pulls out a gun and he kills relative. So it's like those situations can get
All the time.
real weird. You feel what I'm saying? Like it can get you. It has to be all of the adults have to be on the same page because you're gonna. I know other grown men right now, like grown niggas older than me. You know what I'm saying? And they they whole life they've been showing favoritism toward their biological kid as opposed to the other kid of their wife. You,
You know what I mean? Like you see it. I mean, it literally happens. Like it's one of those phenomenons that's like, especially when you start talking about things like discipline and uh, and I don't mean just physical discipline. I mean like what this kid can and cannot do. If the new guy can't discipline the children, he's gonna feel like if I can't discipline you, I can't take care of you. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's some weird dynamics that go along with that stuff. It's more than just a
That's just
couple dollars.
Well,
that's just
you
fact,
know,
right?
if I may, with the relationships I've been in, and to even include, well, I'll get to my marriage, but in my previous relationships with my other children, um, if the father was active or not, I never insisted on being called daddy. I never insisted on being, you know, considered stepfather. Um, I have no problem being called by my first name, middle name, and or Mr. Paul, Mr. Whatever, or Mr. Gallup. I have no problem with that. And as far as like when I got married, my wife's children have always called me Mr. Paul. So even before we got married, I was Mr. Paul. So and the only child in the house at the time was her daughter, um, and she called me Mr. Paul. So I had no problem with being called Mr. Paul. I know that the girl has a father. You see what I'm saying? When I know that that father is active, why? What in my mind should tell me that? Because I'm now fucking mom, and I'm living in the house with mom, or mom living in the house with me. That now I am daddy. No,
Right,
I'm not. She got a daddy.
right,
I'm Mr. Paul. This is my woman's child. So
right.
if the child needs anything, whether I pay on the bills and mom uses her money for her child, either way it goes, it balances itself out. You know what I mean? And as far as like my children, the topic of should I still be responsible for my own child if mom moves on? Hell the fuck yeah. The fuck yes I should.
Right.
What where where's the logic in? Okay, now you got another man, so now it's his responsibility. Where the fuck does that logic come from? Who
Yeah,
thinks like
I don't think that's somebody that's never been in that situation before. That's just some, although alimony works just like that, like for real. Like if you paying alimony and she get married, you thank you, bro, appreciate you. You know, you happy as a motherfucker. That's
Because
the reason
California,
why.
California,
That's
it's
the
it's it's alimony until death or until she get married again, ain't it?
right. It's like that. That's the reason why you see a lot of
It's not until
wives of
death.
So we,
wives of a
It depends on how
wives of
long
a
you've been married, but it's not until death. That's the misconception.
that's after 10 years, right? If you've been married 10 years in one day, I done heard stories of people where the woman
10
found.
years in one day, she's entitled to your. All that means is that 10 years in one day, she becomes entitled to your retirement and any other social security and stuff like that.
right.
I
And
done,
vice.
And it
But look, no, it's
and
vice versa
if
too.
there's an
It's vice versa.
alimony order, if there's an alimony order, you gotta pay that. It is
yeah,
what the fuck it is
I done
until
And
heard.
the
it go,
order get adjusted. And so the only way to get out of that is if she remarries. That's the reason why the divorcees of a lot of affluent men, they never get married again because that's their bag.
I done heard stories of
well,
women
her
still.
getting married again doesn't negate her being entitled to your retirement and your social security. That's automatic. You, if you've been married 10 years in one day and he remarried, guess what? She's still entitled to her cut of your retirement, and you're still entitled to her cut of her retirement. You know what I mean? It's
No,
just
bro, that ain't how that
that
works.
is exactly how it worked. I just recently witnessed it happen. My homeboy's parents got divorced, and they were married for 20 years. When he divorced her, because he retired while he was still married to his latest ex-wife, and she was mad that my homeboy's mom still got a portion of his retirement from the military because they were married over 10 years. Even though she was in, since they had, even though the new wife was also married to him over 10 years, she was also entitled to a portion. She was just mad because now she had to split it with another woman. And vice versa. Vice versa. My homeboy mom worked as an armed guard at the nuclear plant that they closed down in Escondido. When she retired, she had to pay him a portion of her retirement because they were married for over 10 years.
You know, and that's the thing about it, right? It's not a gender thing. It's about who makes the most money, who gets the short end of the stick. So some dudes, like in the red pill, they'd be like, oh, it's not fair for men. No, it's not fair for whoever makes the most money.
It's not even the most money thing. It's when you marry for a certain amount of time, your spouse becomes entitled to a portion of your retirement and your social security. It's both genders. It's just both genders. Now,
are we getting away? Hold on. Are we getting away from the topic, or are we done with the topic?
It's slipping. It's slipping.
It's slipping.
The topic is should a father be responsible for his children when the mother is dating or when she's married? So we want to get to a ways from that topic.
Yeah, but that's kind of a no-brainer. Like anybody that says that they shouldn't be responsible for their own children that they fuck to have because he mad or jealous or whatever reason because she got a new dude now, and now he sees that as a get out of jail free card, is a chump. He a straight sucker. He a buster.
Right.
I don't disagree with that.
The only context where I'm seeing that, the only context where I'm seeing that guys would be feeling that kind of way is in the context of you're paying child support because of welfare. So you feel like, hey, I need to be absolved from this through the welfare system. She has somebody there now. You feel what I'm saying? Because the money ain't going to the child or her. It's going to the system. And so it's like, I'm tired of paying money to the system. You feel what I mean? Like in that context, I can see that thought process.
Yeah, and that in situations like that, that's where these dudes need to go ahead and go ahead and drop a dime and tell the county, like, hey, she got a dude living over there.
No, but
if she doesn't do that, she's gonna continue to receive aid, and you're gonna still, and that other dude is gonna still owe it back to the county. So if she got a dude, she move him in and all of that, that's when the baby daddy need to go ahead and drop that dime. Look, she got a dude living over there now.
But hold on, I don't think it's necessarily that she's only going to get child support because she's receiving financial assistance or monetary assistance or any kind of assistance.
That's not what me and Moody are saying. What me and Moody are saying is that when a woman receives government assistance, cash aid through a county assistant, the county automatically.
Hold on. I know how that works. I pay child support on my team. But I'm saying, let's not just make it about the women who are receiving those benefits, because there are women who are not receiving those benefits that are probably not even getting a respective amount of child support. Now, I'm not trying to talk about those women that want the 500 every 2 weeks or 6,000 a month. This nigga only make 4,000 a month. You want half of that.
You know, I was talking about stories where, see, I was talking about it earlier because I've seen stories where a woman might have made like 200,000 a year, but was constantly trying to take her baby daddy to court to try to put him in jail for child support when he done lost a job and had car wrecks, all kind of stuff where he was injured, and then was trying to get him put in jail through the court system over some child support, but she got hella money.
Yeah, but I think that, you know, when it comes to our children, I think it's just our responsibility, regardless of your financial status, to do the best of your ability, and not to cheapskate your way out of it, but I mean, just to really be fair about what it is that your child deserves or needs. You know what I mean?
Based on your income too.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Based on your financial. Oh shit! Let me get up. All right. What you? Yeah, I'm gonna go on mute. I'm in the way.
Right. I think that most men would agree with what Paul said. Most fathers would agree. I think it's like a very small amount that are don't want to do nothing for their kid. You know, like usually it's like one of them situations where, hey, I told this broad I didn't want to be no father. I told this was just supposed to be some weekend pussy. I told her to go get an abortion. Gave her some money to go get an abortion. She still had the baby anyway. You know, it's like most guys, the average guy, man, black, white, green, whatever, they know you gotta give up some money to take care of children. They know children ain't cheap. You know what I mean? Now, what happens is a lot of guys get stretched thin because they got more than one baby mama. They got 3, 4 baby mamas. They gotta try to take care of 3, 4 different kids, 3, 4 different sets of needs. You know, that gets a little troublesome. And then sometimes you got the real hyena new woman that give a man the ultimatum. It's either me and mine or nothing. You know, and some niggas fold under pressure and you know get get whipped by the pussy and throw away their whole other family.
Yeah.
A lot of that too. I don't know how it is state to state, but in California, child support is 35% of a man's income. And that 30, if the more kids you have, the more that 35% is split. So if you have 5 children by one woman, that whole 35% goes to that woman. But when you got a whole bunch of different baby mamas, that's what it splits up that 35%. And that's where I think that's where, like what Moody was saying, the women be having an issue because she getting child support from this dude, but when it show up, it'd be like $48.
Right.
You know, I seen this one thing. Like, I'm not sure how true it is, but I heard that like in Atlanta, I think it was Atlanta, right? That if a man had 10 kids, he was removed from child support. So I heard there were some men who were purposely trying to get up to 10 kids so they wouldn't have to pay child support.
Damn.
How real is that?
You got to look it up. I'm not sure, but I heard.
That's really crazy.
I know a
Hey,
lot of
don't
niggas.
know.
I know some niggas that don't work because they don't want to pay child support.
Right.
Like literally only
Right.
want under the table money. Only want under the table money.
Yeah, I know a guy like. Hey, I got damn it, I forgot. I was going to ask one of y'all a question for somebody said something, but I do want to say this. I know a guy. Well, I get sick of guys that because I know a couple of them that say she want me to pay child support and I take care of my kids. Now I've told you guys this story in the back chat a few times. You know, when I had custody of my kids, I had some coworkers that used to run, let's go kick it this weekend. Let's go kick it this weekend. No, I can't. I got my baby. I ain't got no babysitter, whatever. Now these are the same motherfuckers that's crying about paying child support, but I never see you with your kid. You always talking about you take care of your kid. But every time, you know, from Monday through Friday, I see you at work. On the weekends, you trying to go to the club, and I'm telling you, I got my baby. I ain't got no babysitter, but you got a problem with child support. You see what I'm saying? These niggas are always crying about spending time or having children and doing for their kids, but I never see you with your kid, dog. So what you think? You think just because you got to pay some money that equates to something?
About two.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm
I
gonna tell
don't
you
get
what I'm gonna tell you what my homegirl told me a few years ago, and I had to think. It was like real profound. She said most men take care of their children. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
My homegirl told me. She said most men take care of their children to the level that they still have love for the mother. And I said, "Whoa, that's some cold shit." It's like like most men, if they really don't give a fuck about the woman no more, it's easy for them to not give a fuck about the kids. But if they still give a fuck about that woman, that's their access to being in that woman's life, fucking with their kids for a lot of men.
Well, I'll say this. I don't give a damn about neither one of my kids. I love my children. But I do for them because I love them. As far as mama goes, it would be a shame if she disappeared. Not that I would do anything for either one of them. my children are my children. That's it. They got nothing to do with
I mean, I don't think that the mother should have anything to do with your children. Like, or who she dating, who she fucking. That shit sound like something that a bitter mom would say. That's just my opinion. I want to bring up that.
Well, to an extent, I think it does matter who our exes date because we all just want to make sure that our children are not around bad individuals. I don't know if you guys can you hear me?
You said it does matter if the
I said slightly because I mean, as far as the character of the person, I think that's what matters most, what should matter. Because to me, I can care less if the nigga ain't working. Does he have a good character? Is he gonna be good to my kid? Is he gonna mistreat my child? Those are the things that I worry about. If that nigga ain't working and she fucking him, that's her fucking business. I don't give a shit about that. That's still my baby, and I just want to make sure that my baby is safe.
Well,
And I
at
hope
that
that
same
your
time,
judgment, and I hope, hold on, and I hope that your judgment is good enough that you pick someone who is better than you all around, all around.
at the
Who's
same
better
time,
than or
Paul,
should be.
because it's something in the background. I don't know whose background is. I can't tell if you stop talking or if that's you sound muffled.
Yeah, it was muffled and it sounded like there's somebody TV in the background.
That was probably me. I didn't. Hands up, please.
yeah.
Yeah, that's Paul. Sound like you had a bingo hall or something.
No, I'm at work. They just yelled. Can you hear me? Am I still muffled?
Yeah,
No.
you sound better now.
Yep, you sound much better.
Okay. Okay.
Like I said, people, a lot of this stuff depends on um the circumstances. I would like to put it in a sense of how alimony goes. So if we're talking about like how alimony goes and you're support and she gets married and you like, well, she married me and why I still gotta pay child support. I think that's quite quite different, and that's more of a discussion piece than regular as men just thinking they don't gotta pay child support just because they baby mama moved on or they ex-wife moved on. Come on now.
Yeah. Child support and alimony, two different things.
Of course.
Right.
But I think we should treat child support in just like alimony.
But I think that after
When it comes to
I
marriage,
honestly think this is really, really young people conversation. Because once you get about 30 years old, you should have you know what I mean? You should be able to, you should have a little bit better judge of character of the person you fucking with. You know what I mean? Like you should be able to discern whether this motherfucker, if you know I got 5 kids and I'm not taking care of none of my kids right now, you ain't got no business letting me hit raw. You know what I mean? Like you ain't like none, zero. If I got 3, 4 kids and you ain't never and I ain't never had to get away from you to go spend time with my kids and be like, look, I gotta go take care of my obligations. You can't, as a woman, you should be them the red flag. You like you if you can't judge, if you're not that good of a judge of character, maybe you should step away from dating for a while because you fuck it up. You know what I mean? You're really, really, really fucking up. And men, if you're dealing with a woman and she always talking about scheming or scamming or how she go do this and mentioning taking motherfuckers to court and always talking about litigation about some shit and this, that, and other, it's a very good chance the first chance she get mad at you, she gonna do the same thing to you. I mean, you just gotta be a better judge of character. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
I totally agree. That goes for both parties. Both
right.
got to start picking their mates better, and then we got to get out this forever phase. Like things may not last forever, but if we could plan in a marriage a prenup, we should be able to do that in a relationship. Like just in case things go left and we go our separate ways, what is the exit strategy of this relationship? I don't mean it sounds so robotic, but maybe it should be that way.
Hey, I know some who were so on point that the women they had kids with never took them to child support court because they always maintained a certain level of woman respected them. So even when the relationship ended, the woman would never put them on child support. I know niggas like that.
I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And I also,
I'm thankful. I'm
also
thankful my wife had not done that to me. You know, she could, she hasn't, and she just trusts that I will do and that I do the best that I can by my child. You know, I've never heard her say, "Well, I need X, I need X, I need X," and I give it to her, and then she turn around and ask for more because she, gets out her hair did or some shit. Anytime I give her money, and for my daughter, like to get hair or clothes, my daughter will call me and say, "Daddy, look at my hair." You know, she got her hair done, she got her new shoes, whatever she wants. You know what I mean? And I
also
think that's what she does with with her money is she takes care of her household expenses.
Oh man.
What the fuck was that? Oh, she's taking care of her household responsibilities. And like if there's something at school, like maybe class pictures or some event at school, I dig into my pocket in that respect. But most of what I do for my daughter is for my daughter.
and I'll say
As
this.
far as my youngest.
I've also seen men put themselves on child support. Like, let's say a dude was dealing with this woman and he was giving her plenty of money, right? And she got greedy, started trying to ask for too much, and then start like threatening him and all this type of stuff. He went and put himself on child support. She ended up getting like a quarter of the money she was getting.
Right.
Well, I did that. My father told me to do that with my son. I didn't know what to do, and because his mom said she wasn't going to do it, he said, "Don't you trust that so and so?" I was like, "What?" He said, "You take her down there." And sure enough, we would get into arguments and shit, right? And she said, "I'm glad. I'm gonna see if I can get more out your little broke ass." I'm like, "Oh, so you would have filed child support on me, you lying motherfucker." So
Well, you
I mean,
people are,
it's not uncommon for a woman to be filing child support, and I've heard this out of women's mouth. That nigga ain't gonna be spending my baby money on another bitch and her kids. I've heard women say that shit or something like that.
Right, right,
You know what I mean? So
right,
that's the
right,
reason why they trying to get up in your pocket because they're being spiteful. It's
right.
just it goes down to being a judge of character, like what type of chick you dealing with. Not that you go always be right, but you just,
Right.
you just gotta kind of like just
You
gotta
gotta
be
listen.
mindful of character.
You gotta listen. I remember the girl who lied on me, who tried to get me canceled and all that other shit. I remember one time we was chilling in the bed and shit like that, and she got on the phone, and I was hearing a story about, and she was on the phone with her homegirls, and she was telling her homegirl about how there's this one girl she knew, and she did something to her car when she wanted to fight the girl, and she was waiting for her to come outside and all type of shit like that. So that was a red flag right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that was a red flag.
like a motherfucker.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, if you listen, all we got to do is just listen to people long enough. You know the saying: listen to people when they tell you who they are. You know.
Right.
I mean,
Or at least you should. You know if the broad was a drama queen when you met her. It don't take long to find out. If
Not at
she
all.
always in some bullshit, if she always in some negativity, if she all if she got a super negative outlook on everything and everybody, it's only a matter of time for that shit happens with you. It's
And I'm
only
gonna
a
tell
matter
you,
of
I'm gonna tell
time.
you another one too, right? And this is something I be seeing dudes do. Dudes be thinking they super ding-a-ling king dick nigga, and they be trying to cuff up a girl when they knew she had a nigga when he met her. So you telling me this girl cheated on her man with you, but you think you different? You think you special?
Right.
Now that's
And back to the topic of taking care of children. Um, well, let's consider the child for a moment, right? And I think that's something we haven't really addressed. If this child realized, because in time a child will know. I know there are women in my family and outside my family who have never spoken bad about the child's father, but the child developed an opinion about their father based on their personal experience that knowing my daddy ain't never did nothing for me. The child will eventually see and know. So women don't necessarily have to badmouth a man about not, him how sorry he is. If the motherfucker don't want to pay, that child's gonna see it. You know, Daddy, you ain't never came pick me up. You ain't bought me no baseball, Yu-Gi-Oh cards or whatever the fuck it is these kids is into now. Um, then that becomes that man's loss. Now it's sad that you got brothers that think like that, but eventually the child will see my daddy ain't shit. And only two things can happen. Either that child will turn out like that man or make sure that they don't become that.
My father, see, my grandfather, he was married to my grandmother, right? They had two kids. They met in the Vietnam War, and they were stationed out in Panama, right? That's when my uncle was born. Now, my grandfather, he ran off. You know, one of them go to the milk store for some milk and never come back type niggas, right? Now,
Vicious. That was the vicious move
wow.
right there.
one of them type of dudes, right? My grandmother, she got crazy hair. She never talked bad about him, and waited for my father and my uncle to grow up and to get to know him for themselves after they became adults, before they were able to see for themselves how he was, right? But you know, my father decided to be the exact opposite. My father is one of the most active fathers I ever met. That nigga is solid as fuck. I got nothing but respect for that man as a father. I love to be half the father of him.
Yeah, it was some cold niggas back in the day. Nigga leave for a pack of cigarettes and never come back.
Yep.
And just be gone.
We got a comment. I'm gonna read it to you guys, okay?
And
Shout out to Kylie West of Miami. He said the problem with mothers on child support dating is they never get remarried.
That's not a concern of mine. I don't care. So what? What's that got to do with fathers spending time and spending money on their kids?
hey, but Mudawa,
I
when
mean that.
we was in the revolution
What's
last, and you was talking about how the next generation of fathers was better than some of them previous ones, I was quiet, but I was like, no, you was telling some facts, because I know plenty of people in your generation, because you were my father's generation, right, where daddy went missing, never come back, right? But my father was
yeah, that was common as a motherfucker.
Right.
Niggas was like real live. Niggas.
I don't even have any homeboys deadbeat dads. Like, I don't even have any deadbeat dad homeboys. Like, that's not even a common thing like it used to be.
Right. That shit was. I'm talking about pervasive, bro. Like it was cats that was disappearing, like gone, poof. What you call?
That line at the store to get that milk was real long, I guess.
Like, listen, man, I don't think that a lot of men wanted to be fathers back then. They ain't have a choice. The choice that they ain't have today, that choice ain't never not change of not having like to reply from the guy that said the problem with mothers is that, you know, they never, the single mother, they never going to get remarried. We said remarried or dating, so it's either or. Either she's, since I'm an old person and this is my YouTube live, I'm going to say she's either fucking or she's playing, or she's engaged and she's moving on to her new level in life. You know, it's not you anymore. It's her and that man and the kid. And I think the major problem was, not the major problem. One of the key comments was, she's not going to put that the kids first anymore. She's going to put the man first. You know, the biblical, the man come first, and then the children. You know, then God, all good shit. So I think that was the worry in the situation. Well, my kids ain't gonna come first now. Now that other man is gonna come first, just like I would have came first if I was in that situation. And I was like, oh, so it's not about.
Can I follow up with behind you?
Guy that she moved on to, you know.
Let me follow up behind you, Keisha, with that. If the woman puts that man first, that man needs to put the family above him. That's the thing that a lot of people are not delving into, right? They hear putting the man first, put the man first over the kids. Keep in mind that man, when that happens, that man then in turn is more than likely, or should more than likely, put the family above himself. So that means that the mother's taking care of the children are taking.
Father is
You know,
having
I know it seems complicated for a lot of people to
has
kind of grasp that concept, but just think about it.
Paul, is this what's saying that the father has access? We're not talking about, God doesn't have nature.
Oh, okay, all right, okay. The father should. What do you mean have access? What do you mean?
Like the mom is not
Like,
keeping
like
away from the kid.
the mom is what?
I said the mom is not keeping the child away from the kid.
So if she's not keeping the father away from the child, then there's no reason for the father not to be. You have no reason other than if he's dead or in jail. Outside of that, you should not have. A man has no reason to not be active in his child's
Oh, Brody, that's making all that noise.
What is it?
So that's you making all that noise. I'm gonna mute you until you say something.
I don't. What's that mean?
It was because on StreamYard we could see your mic moving. Like we could see the little thing pulsating and shit. Yeah.
So
Y'all backgrounds are crazy. What are
yeah,
y'all doing?
I'm sorry.
What are
I'm
y'all
outside
doing?
right now. So not to try to control the show, but if we touched all we can, are we having a free fall now or what?
Oh no. I mean, you was talking, brother. We was listening to Paul.
Oh no, I just what I said was just the end of all I have to say is that if outside of the mother not trying to restrict the father and him not being dead or in jail, there is no reason for him to not be active. And even if you live in another state, you're just still a phone call away. You know what I mean? Whether it be video chatting, phone talking, sending whatever financial substitute, because that's all it would be at that time. It's just a substitute for being an active father. Uh, there's no reason for a man to not be part of his child's life, except what Mugabe says. What the woman says. Some men are only involved as much as far as their love for the mother or their desire for the mother. Man, if that's your mentality, if you the type of dude that feel like, well, I ain't with mama no more, so fuck the kid, I'm fucking dumbfounded on that type of thing. I don't even know what to say about a dude like that, other than to agree with Timothy. Is swallow that bullet, homie.
Um,
Hey, I ain't saying it's right. Something I heard people say before was that, and I don't have any kids, and I don't think I'd have this mentality because my father didn't have it with me. But I done heard plenty of people say that a man is attached to his kids and as present as his kids as he is with the mother. So it's like if a man ain't had no type of connection with that woman before they had a kid, they wasn't married, they wasn't together, then that man really.
I'm trying to tell you, it don't get better, man. It's like if she was weekend sex, nobody to him, like just some real live random, and random ended up pregnant. It's gonna be like pulling teeth to get that man to deal with them babies. He don't. I mean, like for real, like
yeah,
y'all
because
don't you don't understand,
he didn't want the kids. So
right?
yeah, it's no different if you had a woman that still had the baby and she didn't want the baby and she still kept the baby.
Oh, she gonna abuse them.
She's gonna kind of probably abuse them kids, bro. Like,
Right.
you know,
Yeah,
they
that's
really
just
didn't
like
want the kids from the jump.
And they gonna spend all their time in
Okay.
grandma. Hey, you know what?
Yeah,
Hey,
but go ahead, Brody.
but
Brody.
one thing I think though is, and this is something I do believe that as long as what's that shit called, child support is something that's in place, and abortion is an option, then there should be the possibility of emancipation of that child. If you like within a certain amount of time, if you're alerted of the child of the woman being pregnant, you should be able to let her know, hey, I do not want to have this kid, and if so, then you should be able to have freedom from that kid. I think so, and I think some women just say go ahead and get rid of the baby if they know they can't bag off of them.
Okay, let me now. Here's what I want to say because we're going into who wants the child and preventive and all that. If you do not want a child with this person, is it not your responsibility to do your part? I'm not talking about all the little tricks she can pull, talking about all that. Is it not the man's responsibility to do the best he can to prevent her from becoming pregnant?
Yeah.
I don't want to
Paul,
hear
of
about,
course.
I don't want to, hold on. Because I don't want to hear, I know somebody will say, well, she poked holes in the condom. She'll say she's on biz.
No, that's not
I'm
what I'm
not
about to
asking.
say. That's not what I'm about to say. I'm saying, of course, it's the man's responsibility, and it's also the woman's responsibility if she don't want kids. But however, if that woman don't want kids, even if she didn't keep her responsibility of doing everything in her power to not get pregnant, she can still opt out of it. That man should also be able to opt out of it, or else that's biased and discriminatory. The fact that
Oh,
she has the ability, hold on, the fact that she has the ability to opt out of it, he should also have that same ability. That's what we're saying.
okay. And again,
It's
this
not
is what I was trying to say.
right.
Hold on. This is what I was trying to say because I've heard that argument, right? I'm fully aware of it. What I'm essentially saying is if you know you don't want and you alternative things that you know that can
I
happen,
already said yes,
wouldn't
bro.
it? Right, but
I
I'm
already
saying,
agreed with you. I
wouldn't it?
did not
Right,
disagree
right.
with you.
So,
I
so
agree
it's
with
not.
you.
This is not. But this is not to you, Neil. This is to the audience or anybody else on the panel, anybody that's listening. Is it not best to just say, you know what, I'm not fucking with that. But because motherfuckers want to fuck, we'll take all kind of chances. Now, as far as women go, yes, she has that option to opt out. We know that. But now abortion is what pretty much illegal now, right?
No,
What?
it's not.
No, not really.
It's not even close to illegal. You can still go get an abortion.
What is this? What's
You
this
just gotta
Roe?
pay for that shit. That's all.
And the thing
I
is this
thought Roe versus Wade was overturned.
now,
It doesn't. I'm gonna give you context. It's similar to
Okay.
like marijuana laws. Some states you can smoke marijuana recreationally. Some states you can smoke it medicinally. Some states you can't smoke it at all. The federal government says it's illegal, but each state, because of the 10th Amendment, has the right to do whatever the fuck they want to do. It's the same thing with
Okay.
abortion.
take his child over there.
Okay.
But
So
I
so so
noticed whenever that subject comes up about the man opting out, somebody always bring this argument up. It's like it's to dismiss the point that the man should have the same rights that that woman has to opt
And
out. It's like you're dismissing it by saying why that's not the point we were making. Both parties, that's the obvious thing to do. That goes without saying. If you don't want kids, strap up, make sure you don't get pregnant, get on birth control, whatever. That's obvious. But in the case that you did not do that, the woman has that opportunity to opt out. The man should have that same opportunity.
and
Period.
okay,
I want
but if you're dealing with a woman that you know want, hold on. Now let's use that argument, right? You're dealing with a woman that wants kids, you don't want kids. Why would you fuck a woman that wants kids and you don't?
That's not what we're talking about. Like
No,
you
no,
just
no, no.
you
That is
just
what
like
we're
like
saying. That is what.
sandbagging it. That's not what we were talking
No,
about. You just threw that
no.
in
But
there.
the example, Neil, based
You're
on the
doing it.
example you gave, right?
You're
The
against that
example you
point.
gave
You're
was
against that
no,
idea of a
no, I'm
man
not.
having
No, I'm not.
the ability to
But
opt out.
no, I'm
Yes, you
not.
are.
No, I'm not against it. No, I'm
So
not
should a
against
man
it.
have the
I'm
ability to
making it
opt out if the
clear.
woman have the ability to opt out? Yes or no, Paul?
Um, I don't think a woman should. I can't. I don't. I'm not anti-abortion or pro-abortion. Okay, let's start there. Okay, I don't have a dog in that fight when it comes to abortion. I'm not gonna say whether a woman has a right to it or she doesn't. I
That's the
have a
question
dog
I
in
asked
that
you.
fight. It is because what you're asking me
That's
to
not the
be
question
for.
I asked you.
No, listen,
You just answered
Neil.
a
Listen
completely
to how
different
I
question than what
rationalize.
I asked you.
Listen to how I rationalize your question to me. Why I can't answer you the way you want me to. Because for me to say if a woman can opt out, a man can opt out, that means I'd have to agree that a
No, it
woman can
don't.
opt out.
No, it don't.
Okay.
I'm just
Well, anyway,
asking you
bro, my
because you
point.
said
Okay,
you
so my
wasn't.
point,
You
because
said
I
you
can't
wasn't
go
against.
topic
You
with
said you
Paul.
wasn't against that idea. But when I asked you, are you for that idea? You refused to answer because you
I
obviously
wasn't.
is against
No,
the
no,
idea.
no. I didn't say.
Oh,
I didn't say. I didn't. No, no,
can
no.
I can
What
I
you-
can I
Because
chime
I'm
in?
trying to. no, can I answer? Can I finish this with Neo? Because see, we're
Okay,
going to
go
get
ahead.
away from me answering him. All right. I can't give him the answer to what he wants based on what he said about a woman's choice of being able to do. I am neither for abortion or against it. I simply state, hey, that's on her. Now, when on in the case of a woman wanting to have the baby, that's because that's what we're talking about. He doesn't want it, she does. That's where the discussion needs to be had. If you listen to me, that's where the discussion needs to be had. Does she want children? She says yes. You don't fuck her because you know the chances of her getting pregnant are
But
very strong. And then
She
your
she
don't pay
gets
for
your
the
condoms.
fucking
assumption is that, wait a minute, Paul. Your presupposition is
But
that
that should be
all sex. Your presupposition is that all sex is in the context of being in a real relationship. Like people
no,
have
it's
one
not.
night
No,
stands,
it's
bro.
not.
Listen to what I'm saying, bro. Listen to what I'm saying. People have one night stands. People have casual sex. They're not sitting around saying, "Hey, how do you feel about having children one day?" They're not
right.
having those conversations, bro. Motherfuckers
Bro,
is having
bro,
that
bro,
motherfucker.
no.
Hold on, bro. Hold on. Please hear me out, bro. Please hear me out. Cats is out here having Hennessy and cocaine sex, and sometimes it's unprotected, bro. Let's just be honest about
Oh,
it. People out here
oh,
getting high, getting loaded, and having sex, bro. It's not in the context of a relationship. It's a casual sex. And so in the context of casual sex, sometimes, not all the time, not most of the time, sometime a woman ends up pregnant in that case. And that means there has
okay,
to be serious decisions made. That's all, bro.
okay.
Now, to touch on what Neo
So then
was
my
saying,
answer is simple. So then my answer is simple then, right? I'm gonna answer Neil's question. Real simple. Deal with whatever you fucking get. Period. That's my answer to it.
but
That's
see,
not
Why
an
should
answer,
Whatever
man.
hang
comes
on,
your
Neo.
way,
Let me touch
whatever
on it
comes
because
your way,
that's the
deal with it.
discrimination, Paul. That's what Neo is saying. That's discriminatory. It's discriminatory.
No, I'm saying if you wanna,
Let them
if you
finish,
don't want
Paul.
the
Let
kid,
them finish it.
what I'm saying, hold on. When I say deal with it, I'm not saying just accept the fact that she's pregnant and you don't have to deal with it. Child support, y'all deal with it however you need to deal with it. That's your fucking dick. That's your seed. That's your woman you fuck. That's the woman you fuck. I don't have an opinion on it. For me personally, however, for me personally, I can't tell her to have one. I can't tell her to keep it. Whatever
That,
happens,
that's
happens, and I have to deal
that's
with that.
But
But
what
you're
I'm
asking
saying
me
that's
to,
is
still all
the
right.
discrimin.
Hold on. That's
I've
still
been waiting.
not answering the question. I'm saying when a woman gets pregnant, there's still places she can go to legally have an abortion, legally opt out. That man does not have the
Right.
legal opportunity to opt
right,
out of that. And that's what I'm
right.
saying is discriminatory. That's what Tim is saying too. Go ahead, Tim. Though.
And as
Right,
the
but
thing
that's
goes, I
like,
want to
for
go ask Tim.
example, the fact that it's discriminatory is that you can have you can be in a whole relationship with somebody. You could even be married, and your wife or your girlfriend or whoever could get pregnant, and she ain't even got to tell you that she's pregnant. She can just go down and get an abortion, and you would never be the wiser. That
Mhm.
so where is your choice in that? Because you just said that's your dick, that's your nut, that's who you fuck. Where is your power then? Where did
And
it go?
That, that,
I wanted to go after Tim, right? So one thing I gotta say is this right here: two people having sex with each other is not two people agreeing to have a baby. That's two different
Right.
things, right? And people are not having sex because they want to have a baby. They want to have sex because it feel good. That's two different things, right? But another thing is this: I will say responsibility is important. I'm 27 years old. I've never had a pregnancy scare, right? Never, because I don't play like that, right? And but what I will say is this right here too. There's people who are in whole marriages, right? A dude could have a conversation with his wife. Paul was coming from the presupposition that the woman will be honest, right? That's not always the case. A woman can
Right.
be married to her husband, say she want a baby, he say no 2-3 times. So she say, you know what, I'm just gonna stop taking birth control, and whatever happens, happens.
Yep.
I done heard
so,
stories. I done
so
heard
again,
stories of women purposefully getting men drunk or getting them high,
I,
drugging
I,
and getting pregnant. I done heard stories like that. There was this one woman, right? She was dating this man, right? And the dude didn't really want to be with her, right? He had another woman he was dating, so she invited him over one night, drugged that man, got got the seed up out of him, got pregnant, and then they ended up getting married because he wanted to be a stand-up dude and take care of his kid. He didn't even know what happened.
And the thing about it, Amar, like, and Paul, I'm against abortion as that should be an option for the woman or the man. But being that it is an option for the woman still, there should be an option for the man to opt out. I'm just saying to not be discriminatory, not be biased, be fair all the way across the board. But should they have the ability to have an abortion? I'm against it. I don't play no neutral ground. I'm against it. It ain't my decision to make for them. So, but I'm just saying, I think that if I'm a vote, I'm voting against abortion every time. Neither one should have the opportunity to opt out. Both of y'all use protection. Both of y'all, be responsible. But that's not how it is right now. Right now, it's bias, and that woman has all the
Yeah.
power.
And I think for me, my stance comes from me um, trying to trying to wrap my head around her having an abortion and whether she should or has the right to or doesn't. I'm on the fence on that because hey, for a number of reasons. I mean, you guys can probably throw one in there and I'll include it into my rationale as to why she should or shouldn't be able to have it. That's why I'm on the fence. And as for a man, it's like, well, hey, I would have to personalize that. So I can't say on a general scale for all men. This is just me personally. My personal opinion would be in line with what I think about with the woman. If she wants to have it, so be it. If she don't want to have it, so be it. I would rather she have it, but if she don't, I'm not gonna fight her on it.
But
Yeah,
how
I'm
are
not
you?
gonna fight
How
her
are
on
you?
it.
Hold on, Paul. How are you? How are you pro-choice? This is what you're saying. You're pro-choice. You're pro-choice for the woman, but you're not pro-choice for the man.
Right.
You understand that's what
No,
you're
what
doing,
what
right?
I said. No, because I said if she wants to have it, fine. If she wants to get rid of it, fine.
that's
See, you
pro.
ignored that.
Yes,
You
that's
ignored that.
pro-choice. That's
Okay, well, yeah,
pro-choice.
I'm pro. Okay, fine. I am
Right.
pro-choice. That's
That's
your
pro-choice.
decision.
Now hold
That's
on.
her decision.
Full stop, Paul. Full stop. How
Okay,
can you
all
be
right.
pro-choice for the woman and not be pro-choice for the man? That's all we're saying.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
what I
that's
said to you again,
discriminatory. That's
hold on,
discriminatory.
what I said to you again, what I said to you guys again was this is a my personal from me personally, and you want me to apply something to the rest of society that I cannot and will not do. This is what you're having a problem with.
Well,
You're
all of
wanting me
us are
to
just
give you a
speaking from
response.
our
Hold
own
on.
perspectives.
Right, and this is mine, and you guys want me to apply how I feel
We
personally
we
to the rest of society, and I can't do that.
we don't want you to
I'm not
do that. We're just
capable of
asking
doing
you about your opinion, and are you being biased? Or are you being discriminatory? Or are you being fair? If you say you just being
about
biased, then so
who,
be it. Wait, if you're
Say
just
about
you
saying you're
who.
biased.
being, if you're
But
just
listen.
wait, hold on. If you're just saying I'm discriminatory and I'm pro-choice for the woman but not for the man, that's fine. But just say that you're like beating around the bush, and that's your opinion. You're entitled to
Right.
it. We're not trying to
You're
take that away from you, but we're looking at the
no, but
logic
you're
behind it, and
Yeah,
and
the
logically,
logic.
if I'm going to be pro-choice for the woman in the situation, I'm going to be pro-choice for the man. That don't mean everybody else have to.
Because there are legal
I'm
Right.
talking
reasons.
about
There's legal reasons.
again, and I'm gonna leave it at this. Again, one more time. I'm gonna leave it at this and let you guys have it. This is all about personal. If it was me in a situation, it has nothing to do with anybody else's situation. Then y'all can do what you want with it. That's
And I
where my
and there
opinion
are
comes
reasons
from.
why that wouldn't
okay.
work too. Like it wouldn't work. It would be very difficult to make that law be something that's passed because that would be the government's responsibility. The only thing it would do was deter the woman a little bit from wanting to have a kid just if she's trying to finesse, but it
Right.
wouldn't.
I
But
was
it
just about
wouldn't
to
stop
say
people
that.
having babies, and then it would be the government's responsibility. So they probably wouldn't pass that. It would probably make the taxes go up.
But
I think
But
I
but
think it'll
but
be a
prior to
75% decline in women having these babies in these situations because the majority of those women only want it so that because they know they can,
get
take this
child
man to
support.
court and get child support.
But
And
some of
have
them
that
do it
It'll
for
be
leg,
growth
the
though.
if
end of
they didn't
basketball
wait,
wives
well,
that
didn't have, yeah, if they didn't stand on, wouldn't just be wanting to have a baby and be a single mother and knowing this man can opt out, they'll decide to do that.
what we illustrate, Paul, is just pro-choice all the way around, not just choice for the women. Because say there's a scenario where you really want to. Oh, my bad, this damn fire truck. I don't know if y'all can hear it.
Still,
yeah, we still
But
hear you though, bro.
so if you are a woman and you absolutely like tell you she pregnant and you like, yes, I've been waiting. I always want to be a kid. She'd be like, well, you know what? I'm not ready and I'm gonna go terminate the pregnancy. There's
There's
nothing
nothing you can do about it. Not a goddamn.
nothing
You
you
have
can do
no
about it.
legal recourse.
So
Nothing.
And
what we're
again, and again,
what we're
and again,
proposing
right?
is
And hold on, to
let
answer
me
that
finish.
again, like
Man,
Neo brought to, go ahead,
okay.
go ahead.
On the other is the other way. Say on pregnant you and you be like, well, I'm not for this, I'm not my life right for this. There's no way I'm in to be able to raise now. There should
But you
be
know
a
what?
there
The
should be a
reason I
way
see
for men to be able to opt out and say, well, if since you want to keep it, let's sign this. Boom, I'm out. It's all on you. You want the baby? I don't. That's cool. That doesn't exist. But what does exist right now is her saying, if you be like, yes, I want to have this baby, I can't wait. She can be like, I don't give a fuck what you want. Guess what? I'm finna go terminate this baby, and ain't nothing you can do about it. And that's just if she tells you, because in the example I gave before,
More than
legally,
likely, you ain't gonna
you
get
don't even
told.
have to tell you she pregnant
Right.
legally. She don't even
but
gotta
Right.
tell you.
but if we're
Can
looking
I
at it from a
respond to
practical
that? Okay,
if
go
we're
ahead.
looking at this from a practical stance of why that double standard would exist, it's for the same reason, right? One, right? Now part of it is because it's the woman's body, and I understand that. But another thing is this, right? On one perspective, a woman having the right to get an abortion means that's less money the government would have to pay for taking care of the child if the father ain't there. Two, if she decides to have that baby, and then they said that the man has a right to alleviate responsibility of that child, then now the government got to take care of it. So for the same reason that they would allow one is the same reason that they probably wouldn't allow the other.
Okay,
But what
now
we're
I
saying
need
is that
something to do me a
overall, all of
favor.
that. Go ahead, my bad. Go ahead, Paul.
I need you to repeat what you said to me so I can respond appropriately. Because anytime I listen to somebody else, I'm trying to hear them and remember what you said, and I couldn't remember, and I don't want to get it twisted, but I want to respond to you
Okay.
specifically based on what you said.
Okay, so this is the double standard. On one hand, a man and a woman in a long-term relationship, even a marriage, could become pregnant together, and that woman can say, the man could be like, yes, I've been waiting. I'm so happy. I'm gonna be a dad. And that woman can look him dead in his face and be like, I don't give a fuck how you feel. I'm gonna go get this abortion. She actually legally, she doesn't even have to tell him. She can just go do it. But on the flip side,
Now I
there's no
remember
way
now.
that a man can be like, well, you know what? I don't want this baby,
Now,
so I'm legally not gonna be
now,
responsible for it.
now I remember what you said. Okay, now I remember. Again, you guys are talking general for men overall. I can never really speak for, not on every issue can I speak for men on a whole. Because there are times where I have to pocket things and internalize that and make it about my personal experience. Okay. So I cannot in certain topics I can't discuss about or give a blanket statement about, well, men are this and men, because I'm not all men. I don't think like all men. So on this particular, the example you gave, a woman uh, having an abortion on me, personal experience. In hindsight, was I disappointed? Yes, but I understood. Nothing I can do about it. You wanna have it. Okay, cool. Now, as far as if I'm financially responsible already, no, but I know I would have to make adjustments and make an improvement in order to take care of that child. That's me. That's me. I'm not talking about nobody else. There would be personal sacrifices I would have to take for me because I would be what I call a responsible father. I wasn't ready for this, but God damn it, now I gotta take care of this kid. So
I
now
think
I gotta make a personal decision. So I'm not speaking for nobody else.
I think the
Right,
caveat with
and
that is
I'm not going to.
we're not speaking for anybody else either. What we're discussing is the law. Is the law, and should the law be biased and discriminatory? We're not saying what a man should do and what he shouldn't do. We're saying the law should have the option for a man to opt out, just like they have it for a woman to opt out.
Okay,
I
well
think
then if we do that, we got to ask the
at a
question: then what what
married,
would
he couldn't
be
do it.
what
If they weren't married or proven to be in a long-term relationship over a certain period of time, that he would have the choice of opting out unless it's proven that y'all are actually together. I think that would be a good caveat that actually prevent.
Well, even
okay.
if they're actually together, he should have the option of opting out because she still has that option. Like
Right.
Tim said, you can be married to that woman. Y'all in a long term relationship. That's not a decision that the courts require both of y'all to make together. She can make that decision on her own that she don't want that baby. She still can do that. You still should
Right.
be able
Yeah.
to do that as well.
So if the law creates an option for the man, right? And let's I'm not gonna say it shouldn't be, but let's say it does. There has to be something in place stating how that is handled and who takes whose responsibility. Does the state take care of it? Is it solely on mom?
Yes, it's solely on
Yeah,
mom. What are you talking
it-
about?
I mean,
it's solely on
I mean,
mom. She wants the baby.
I mean,
She's opting to be a single parent.
Right.
Yes.
She's
okay,
making that
now,
decision.
right,
She's making,
right.
bro. Do you know
But
that?
see
Do you
now,
know that?
but see,
Hold on, hold on,
hold on,
hold on,
hold
hold
on.
on,
Let me
Paul. Paul, please pause for a second. Pause. Do you know that there's literally women out here right now that are making the active choice to be single mothers?
I know some.
Literally.
I
That
understand that.
they don't give a damn about the man being in their life. They are
I
literally
get that.
looking.
I get
They
that.
are literally looking for physical sperm donors.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
I know some. I
I
know.
get it. And but this conversation there's so much more to this conversation than just a man and a woman.
You know what?
There's
it's
Here's
so
really
much more.
not. It's really that simple.
It
Can
is.
y'all
It
see?
is.
Can y'all
The reason I say that is because when the child gets older, now the child wants to know. You see
listen.
what I'm saying? So now
if
we
you
get
guys
now we
can
have a hold on. Can I finish real quick?
go ahead? I'm my bad.
Now we keep over. We talk about the adults in the situation, but we don't talk about the child in the situation. When it comes of age, he or she comes of age,
what about the
what the
child,
effect
bro?
is on. Oh, okay, never mind.
Can y'all
What
see
Thank
about
you,
my
the child?
camera?
Yeah, I
thank
just
you,
want to
thank you,
I just want to
thank
say,
you, thank you. I'm
you
cool. Go
know,
ahead.
you know how many kids right now, and I'm not saying they're healthy. I'm not saying that they're mentally healthy. I'm not saying that they are adjusted, well rounded. But you know how many kids right now don't know who the fuck their daddy is? Right now,
But but in this
2023,
case,
January.
hold on. But in this, the woman knows exactly who the daddy is, and the
But the
father
kid
doesn't.
don't know.
What
But the
about
kid
what
don't know.
I,
But
I
there's
said
kids
when it
right now,
comes to
bro.
that? I'm not talking of Mugabe. There's dynamics there. You know, one should know, especially
And
when mom knows who daddy is, right?
on real stuff.
That child grows up. Just hold on. God damn, man. I know you guys want to get it out and counter me, but my question again is about the child when it comes of age. I ain't talking about just when it's 6 years old or 11 years old. When that child becomes a young adult and wants to know his or her father is, should that child have the right to approach that man, or should he be able,
No,
or should he or
no,
she be told to stay away?
no. She couldn't even know. If that man opted out, she like that's what he did. He opted out.
Oh,
I did not
oh,
want that.
okay.
Now,
So now,
can y'all see my screen?
so now we're willingly creating
I'm just saying
children
legally, when
that
you give
don't
a child up,
oh,
wait, Paul. When a mother gives the child up for adoption, that child would like to know who that biological mother is. But if that biological mother does not want that to be known, she can opt to have that not known. So that likewise, that
mm,
man should have that same option. If he's given the option to opt out, he should decide if he wants the child to be able to know or not.
okay.
All the
So
way
again,
around the board, bro.
I got cut off again. Again, I got cut off again.
We all
So
do.
when the child, all right. So because I didn't get to finish, right? Because why I say it's so much deeper than just the man and the woman. Because now you got extended family. The children, there's a history, health history that the child might need to know about. There might be other family members that say, okay, yeah, Bill didn't want this fucking baby, but this is our family. So now the child has to stay away from the rest of the family as well because daddy didn't want. See, this is the dilemma I have with this opting out. Okay, you can opt out, but at some point when this child becomes an adult, you're saying you don't. You know, we know who your daddy is, but you'll never know.
But
Hey,
a better fight would be called.
the adoption agency don't care
That's
about
fucked
that,
up.
bro. The
That's not
adoption
true
agent
because
can I finish
that's
now?
not.
Can I
You
finish?
can finish,
Like I
but that's
waited,
not
I
true.
let you get it out, bro.
One at a
Can
time.
I finish? So the adoption agency does not care about that either. That child can grow up from the adoption system, want to know who the biological parent is. And if that biological parent does not want to be in contact with the child, the adoption agency does not care. That mom does not have to meet this child. That's not her obligation. She gave up her responsibilities as a parent
Bro,
all the way
I'm
around
talking
the
about.
board.
I'm gonna take it one step further, Neo. I'm not even talking about. I'm not even talking about legitimate adoption. When you can literally, and I don't know if it's everywhere, but like California, you can literally take an infant and set it on the steps of the fire department and walk away.
Yeah, that's
Literally,
countrywide.
That's
Please, I
true.
see that's countrywide.
literally, like, and you know, they don't care. They do not give a flying fuck. You can take an infant right now, leave that infant on the steps of the fire department, and walk away. That infant will never know who his biological parents are. Ever. When the kids go in, when some of these kids go into the foster system, when some of these kids go into the foster system, not adoption system, the foster system, they never know who their biological parents is if they're too young.
Mhm.
And,
Ever.
But
and I'm
that's
Come
gonna
on,
tell
I
bro.
get it.
I know this woman
You
that's
guys
told
are. Oh my
me.
God.
I know this woman
Go
that's
ahead, Brody. Go ahead. Go ahead.
now this woman told me and some other men, right? I was trying to get at her, right? She said he'll have sex with me as long as I give her a baby. I'm like, oh fuck no. And she was telling other dudes that too. She was getting frustrated with this one dude because they've been fucking with each other,
Man.
but he still ain't get her pregnant yet. And she got her own money.
Um,
She be a,
listen, the double standard of this system that they created. And on one side, right, you got these breeding ass women, right? They just breeders. They just having all these babies to either get to keep the relationship, or it's like a super Ponzi scheme for child support. You know what I mean? Just one nigga after the next nigga, they just getting them all. Oh, and a lot of them are going through welfare. They're not going down to family court and filing for a lot of these child support cases and things of that nature. So, with that being said, since they're not doing all that, that's where it comes down to like the hook and the sinker, because they think if they have kids with you, then they got you forever, and they kind of do.
They do. I was about to
It's
say,
like
yeah, they definitely
Ain't
do.
but
no kinda.
hold on. When you talk about the child like being given up for adoption, even that child was gonna want to know who its his or her mother is.
oh,
And what I do know is that although they can be sealed, they can't um, uh, be open, especially if the adopted parents know. And more than likely, adopted parents know exactly who the mother and father is.
it depends. If it's a closed
Right
adoption,
now,
it depends on how it all went down.
Bro,
Right.
But I
most
will say
children
this.
that enter
Say
most
this.
children that enter the foster care system do not get adopted, fam. Do you understand that?
Yeah, they don't. But I
Most
will
kids
say
that enter that system do not get adopted. Most of them go through
okay.
the age out the system.
it's a
So
double.
what you're talking about? Hold on, real quick. I gotta say this because what you're talking about is not having access to. But when mom knows, you're not telling what you putting on mom a gag order. You can't tell this child who daddy is. Is that what we're doing here? Creating gag orders? Is that
Bro,
what you're saying?
I
like
would say
Paul.
the double. The whole conversation started off as, it should be equal. If the mom get to walk away, then
Right.
the dad should walk away. Now, and in the line of the baby isn't born, there's like immaculate options that women have that men don't have. But once the baby get born, the options get quite equal, just in a double standard. So when a woman walks away, she has to leave it with a guardian. She just can't walk out the house and the kid is just, well, fuck it. You know that she gets fined for that, go to jail for that as well. However, Dad, if you get up and you walk away, all they're going to do is really come at you for child support. They're not going to come at you for child abandonment. Like, you know,
Well,
that's
you didn't leave it by itself though. You still left it with the mom.
right.
If that child is like
Yeah,
Keisha.
that shit with nobody. Sometimes not even you. You go,
No, I'm saying if either one of the parents leaves the kid by itself, they're gonna get arrested for negligence.
yeah,
That's the thing. If the mom wants to leave the child with the dad, listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying.
religion on fathers though.
If the mom leaves the kid with the dad, she's not gonna get any trouble. If she leaves that kid at home by itself and walk away, yeah, she's gonna get, child abuse and everything.
Right.
If the dad leaves the kid with the mom, he's not gonna get, you
Father,
know.
no, hear me
Can
out.
I,
The child, no, listen, hear me out. The child's father can say that the mother abandoned the child, and he still has the child. You get what I'm saying? In his custody, he
she's
can,
Right,
not gonna get in any
right.
trouble for that.
he can still say this is child abandonment.
No,
He
Hey,
can say he
No,
can say it with
no,
his
bro.
mouth. He can
no.
say it
She's
out
not
loud with
gonna
his
get
mouth. That's not
any.
abandonment.
Right, it's not really abandonment because she left it with the father.
Right. That's
Now, if
not
she just
child
left the
abandonment.
kids at home one day and never came back and didn't tell nobody the kids was at home, yes, she's gonna get in serious trouble for that. If she leaves it out in the woods, she's gonna get in trouble. The only place she can leave it, like Moody Watt said, is a hospital, fire department, police station, something like that,
Right.
because they're
Right.
gonna get it to the right place. Other than that, yeah,
hey,
she's getting some shit.
say you was fighting for custody. That woman leaves. She never came back. Like she never came back. You get what I'm saying? You can say she abandoned her children, even though they're with you.
No, that's not what we're saying. Legally,
I
she's not gonna get a child abandonment charge for that. She didn't technically abandon it. She left it with the parents. Yes, the other parent is gonna say that mother abandoned the child. Just like the father leave, that mother can say, your daddy abandoned y'all. He just went to the store to get some milk and
Right.
never
Right.
came back. He technically abandoned the child, but it was a legal abandonment, not an illegal abandonment. That's the difference.
do. And here's another double standard that I will point out. Women, the state will take over a woman's rights faster than they will for a man. A man probably have to bring up his auntie, uncle, shit like that, where the state will take for the woman. See, when the state takes like give a woman stamps and things like that, the state is saying, I am now your baby daddy.
Some of the,
You get what I'm saying?
chill out. We just gonna let you. We gonna pick out.
And even when it's in foster care, now you're really the state property. You're really the warden of the state. So I think they're quick to be, partners with women than men in that sense. They like, nah, man, this is gay. How you doing that?
I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that because what it is they're quicker to give the mom custody over the man. That's the biasness in it. But if the man has custody of that child, they're not just saying the mom ain't got no responsibilities. They're gonna hold her the same way they're gonna hold the man. They're gonna put her on
Right.
child support and try to recoup some of the money that they're spending on, assistance and stuff.
Right. Right.
Real quick, let me say this. The reason I'm not on camera is because I'm at work and I have on my uniform, and I don't want my opinions to be the express concern of mine.
Go
Hey,
on,
Paul,
go on.
Paul, I got you,
Yo.
baby. I got you. Look, check me out. I already threw this out there. The opinions and ideas and beliefs shared by guests are not the opinion, ideas, and beliefs of the creators of this show. This show contains adult content and language and may not be suitable for some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised, baby. I got you, baby. You good.
Good.
Well, I don't want
Indeed.
nobody seeing me in my uniform and they like,
Makes the goddamn dream work every time, man.
Timothy, is that on
Yeah,
here?
well, check it. I'm at work early, right? And I got on my uniform. I went up. I said, "Oh, that's what they think of over there. I won't eat there again."
Shit. I
They
mean, you
probably
haven't
got
said
some
you
slow
haven't said
people that would
anything.
think that too.
You actually haven't said anything controversial. You've actually been like more of, you know, I
A
think
devil's
people would be
advocate.
like, yeah, people would really agree with you because most people don't really look into the subject the way we've been talking about it. You know,
Yeah,
we live in
you've
a
been very politically biased, so you played it neutral.
right. You know what I
Played it
mean?
safe,
Like
Paul. You
I know
did.
I was trying to create some contention in this motherfucker, but Neo had to be logical when I,
No,
I was trying to, debate his little point, not saying he was wrong, but I was trying to discuss it and debate it, but he just kept like dodging that question.
he said I
right.
put on my
Uh,
roller skates and
Max
shit.
Plus,
Get the fuck out of
Oh
here.
yeah, he was ice skating. You had ice skates on.
And we live in an extremely gynocentric time right now, and you know it's like it's heavy. Like most of the shit is heavily skewed and favored toward women, and it's just the way it is. You know, we got to live with it. You know, it's not the end of the world. You know, it just it is what it is.
and I got a point on that gynocentric point, right? And I plan to make a video on this. I think one of the key differences between a gynocentric and an androcentric society is that in a gynocentric society, toxic femininity is overlooked, and then toxic masculinity is highly punished. In an androcentric society, toxic masculinity is overlooked, and toxic femininity is overly punished, right? So it's like we can look at how people can get lied on and end up losing a job, going to jail and stuff like that in this day and age. But back in the day, if a bitch cheat on a man, she getting stoned to death with rocks in the street. So, there's pluses, minuses to everything. It's just right now it's not always the most beneficial for the average man.
Yeah, but I kind of have a problem with
and back in the day,
labeling.
men used to die for fucking somebody's wife. Count your blessings. Shit.
Right. I just have a kind of a problem with the whole toxic masculinity phrase,
I can
toxic femininity.
and
I really don't like the phrases at all.
I wrote
You
my
know.
paper. I wrote one of my final papers for my degree on both toxic masculinity and toxic femininity. I have my own definitions for it, but I think the way I define it is pretty clear, and I don't think there's too much dispute on whether or not that exists or not. I think a lot of men get triggered about it, and it's like, yo, it's just word. Like it's not that masculinity is toxic. It's called a word. Like if anybody know
Okay,
English,
well, let Mugabe finish, and then if you don't mind, break it down. Unless you just want to plug your channel and
oh yeah, Coach Bro.
have it all.
Right. Well, we can't. Unfortunately, Brody, we can't redefine shit that's already added to the lexicon in our society. So if they're saying that this term means this certain thing, we can't turn around and say that this term means this now. We have to either abandon the term itself and make the motherfuckers throw it away, which is what I want to do, or we have to use some other term because there's no what like as what they consider toxic masculinity is like some really really weird, vague, and ambiguous shit. So the first time you get mad at something, you a toxic male. You feel what I'm saying? Like what's something's wrong with this picture. You're demonizing masculinity on every level. That's what they're doing out here in this society. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, I think definitions get co-opted, shifted, and changed all the time. I don't think that's an accurate statement that you made just now. Just like the definition of monogamy itself has been something that shifted over time. Like at first, it was just two people who were cohabitating. It's social monogamy. Now, times when people speak of monogamy, they're talking about sex. So definitions do change based off of what's prevalent. And if you hear a definition and two people have a conversation about it, sometimes things spread as people listen to the topic and get better understanding. I think the gynocentric lens on the topic of toxic masculinity is oftentimes overcorrected and skewed to the point where people see flaws in it. But I think the concept itself is not a relatively bad concept. Just like toxic femininity is not a bad concept.
You lost me there, Brody, because monogamy by definition means to be in a sexual relationship with just a man and a woman. That's it.
Look at
Right.
look at
Polygamy. That's why there's polygamy, which poly means multiple. So
Right.
mono
Mono
means
meaning one.
mono
Mono
meaning
meaning
one,
one.
poly meaning multiple.
Polygamy is reference to marriage. So polygamy is different than polyamory, right? Because polyamory is
polyamory. I
We
said
ain't said nothing about polyamory. We ain't
right.
said nothing.
no. Listen,
We
listen.
said nothing.
You said mono.
No, he's saying that the gammy, the polygamy, the gammy in polygamy means marriage. And he's right
Right.
about that. So monogamy, the gammy in it originally did mean marriage, and now people use it in the connotation of sex instead of marriage.
Okay. Okay. I follow the logic
So
there.
we do have a point there. He's right about that.
I follow the logic. But yeah, that's a whole different conversation about, you know, the misnaming of masculinity, calling it toxic when it's really not. You know, it's you know, that shit is like weird, and we letting other people label us as men. More than likely, it's women. More than likely, it's feminists, and more than likely, they white. I think we should take real exception to having these labels thrown on us. You dig what I'm saying? And be real cognizant of what's going on because it's not cool. It's not cool at all. Now there is hyper masculinity. There's definitely hyper masculinity, but toxic. Uh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, and when I would say toxic, it's like I think a good point to think about. I remember one of my sources for my paper was Karen Strawn. That's probably one of my favorite. That's my favorite Karen that I know of is Karen Strawn, right? Now, Karen Strawn broke down some of what toxic masculinity and toxic femininity is through the hyper agency, hypo agency, right? So hyper agency is to take extra control or responsibility over the actions and decisions of others beyond their boundaries or beyond their own responsibility level. That's hyper agency, right? And then hypo agency is to not take responsibility or accountability for your own actions to the point where you make other people responsible for your own decisions. So hyper agency goes in line with toxic masculinity, and hypo agency goes in line with toxic femininity.
Well, I can see how you draw that conclusion, and I know where you're going with that. We've already had that discussion, but like I say, I don't think this is a good time. That's a whole be a great conversation, but I don't think right now.
It's better now than never because I think that one thing that is going on is I think a lot of men are pushing back against the phrase and the term itself while displaying the traits that actually would represent what that is. You know, just because they get triggered by words. Like to me, I ain't for getting triggered by words like that. It's like,
Okay, give me an example of what you would consider to be toxic masculinity in a person that we can know, like celebrity, athlete, or whatever, world leader, whatever. Show me what that looks like in real life.
so I think one thing would be an abuse of power. Rape would be a good example of toxic masculinity. Not that a woman, but in how I define it, toxic masculinity and toxic femininity aren't specific to the. So a woman can be toxic masculinity, a man can be toxic femininity, right? So toxic masculinity, that's taking over somebody else's control, taking control over someone else against their boundaries, against their will. So rape, right? It's like toxic femininity is making someone else responsible for your own decisions. That would be like a good example of toxic femininity would be a false accusation, right? Or using a mob mentality in others through an assumed perception of innocence, right? If you weaponize a false idea of innocence as toxic femininity, right? If your ego needs to be in control so much that you disrespect the boundaries and the rights of others, that's toxic masculinity. So let's say a man, he strokes his ego or feels validated through approaching a woman and her being receptive to him, right? So if he approaches that woman, he feels insecure because she rejected him, and then he calls her names or he tries to attack her. That would be a clear case of toxic masculinity. That's how I look at it.
Okay, that's your definition. I wish it was. No, I don't wish it was that cut and dry. But that's not how they're trying to clinically use the phrases. They're using it completely different than what you're saying. They're almost taking every aspect of basic male behavior, basic masculine behavior, and trying to classify it as being toxic. They're trying to take stuff as far as like fighting. fighting is an essential part of being a man. Period. You have to learn how to defend yourself. You have to learn how to defend your family. You have to learn how to defend your people. They're trying to label that as toxic masculinity. What are you doing then? What are you saying? Well, who should defend themselves? Who should defend their family? Who should defend their people? How does this work? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's like the feminization of a society, and we're not even paying attention to what the fuck they're doing. Now,
I
conversely, when we're talking about toxic femininity, I can somewhat agree with you when you say they weaponize the system around them to their own will. All women do that. Every group of women does that, particularly with black men. They don't have a problem calling the police on you. All women, they do it all the time. They don't have a problem with that.
See, for me, it's a little different because I agree with everything you guys are saying. But for me, we're all speaking from individual points of view. To me, when I think toxic masculinity, it goes with what we were talking about the other day about how men contribute to other men having certain issues based on what the perception of manhood is. Like we're not allowed to be humans and express emotions. It's always toughen up, shut up, quit being a punk, and all of that. And that creates a mental issue for us later that comes out in the form of like what Moody was say. Now he beat up on women and he beat on women because he's never learned to deal with his emotions. And from the toxic femininity side, I see it as other women doing the same thing to each other. If their girlfriend get in a bad breakup, girl, it wasn't your fault. He missed out on a good thing, and da da da. It's they never hold each other accountable. They're always in a victim mindset. I think for me, that's how I would when I won't say define. That's what I think of when I think of toxic and masculinity and toxic femininity.
Now, I think that goes in line with it. I think another thing too is if you ever notice the main people who speak about toxic masculinity, they act as if toxic femininity doesn't exist most of the time, right? And the phrase they like to use in exchange for toxic femininity is wounded femininity, right? So I think
What
there's
the
both
fudge
wounded
is
and toxic.
that?
We never heard of wounded femininity?
Hell no.
It's victimization mentality.
This is
Yeah,
what I
That's
that's
what
the
just
it
thing.
said.
is.
What I just
It's
said.
the same. Right,
All
right.
right,
It's the same.
thank you for telling me like I was a fifth grader because that shit was like what?
Yeah,
Yeah, because the wounded only affects you. The toxic affects others.
All right,
right.
got you. Because I'm like, what is that? Got
But
y'all.
it,
Move along.
but we've seen women weaponize their femininity historically against black men. We've seen what got Emmett Till killed, saying that he whistled at some white bitch. You know what I mean? We see this shit time and time again. Why did Geronimo Pratt do all that time in prison? Because they say he killed a white bitch. You know what I mean? Like we keep seeing this. If there is toxic femininity, it's the weaponization of your femininity to harm other people. It's just that nuance. It's not some surface level shit. Abroad trying to manipulate a man to help pay her bills. No, that's not what it is. It's that deep systemic shit that women been getting away with for a long time, and nobody's addressing that shit. And now
And
we got sisters doing the same shit. Like you say,
Well,
the false allegations, where
right.
you sitting up in jail for 30 years until DNA exonerates you for some shit you have nothing to do with.
And to double down with that, Moody Wah, look at toxic femininity is exactly that movement where they say believe all women, just
that's the
Right,
automatic,
perfect.
just believe
right,
all women, no matter what. If a woman says that this happened, just believe her. Shit, it happened.
right,
Me Too movement. You know what I mean?
right. Like there's no balance. There's no way to hold up. So you could just lay out an allegation and we just got the rock and roll with it. Like,
Yeah,
it's
that's why I talk
mob
about it so much.
justice. It's
That's why I
mob.
did
That's what we
content
doing.
on the. That's why I did content on the Amber Heard situation with Johnny Depp because our toxic femininity, and that's why I did content on the Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion situation because toxic femininity been in full effect. But that's why I said earlier that the main difference between a gynocentric and androcentric society is that some things that will be considered toxic masculinity, right, by my definition, will be things that people would get turned somewhat of a blind eye to at times in an androcentric society, and toxic femininity has a blind eye turned to it in a gynocentric society, right? As far as the social values. So when I'm looking at these things right here, like toxic femininity is weaponized, assumed perception of innocence, right? I think that's like one of the best ways to put it. That's the definition I used in my paper, and I use it pretty regularly, right? But I do think these are some topics to understand. And also, like when we were talking about toxic masculine, another part of that would be like what Timothy has said. But that's why I like to separate toxic and wounded, right? Because you can be in toxic, you can be in wounded masculinity and be so held on to this idea, not having emotions, that you implode, right? And you shoot up some people. You know what I mean? Uh, yeah.
I think all of these uh prefixes are the problem with shit.
Right. I was about to say like these are like extremities. Like these are the things that happen in extreme situations. Especially with the toxic femininity things. Like I'm thinking of succubuses, like chicks that's getting over on dudes like Cardi B shit. You in the lion's den and you got scammed, you know, and now it's toxic femininity. And I'm like, well, bro, you got scammed by a hooker. Like, what the fuck?
Hey, but I'd say that toxic masculinity and toxic femininity aren't exclusive to men or women, right? Like a dude can be have a let's say a guy's in a wheelchair, but he always fucking with people. He get his ass beat. He's like, hey, I'm in a wheelchair. He can't hit me, but you've been fucking with this dude, and this big dude beat your ass, and you in that wheelchair. Then now you claiming to be a victim when he beat your ass. See, that's toxic femininity, even though it's a man, right? They're like if you play off of the idea of selling false victimhood to get power and a mob mentality and people like Jesse Smollett, that's toxic femininity. When he lied about uh, uh, enduring that racism so that he could get public sympathy, so that he could get clout. That's toxic femininity. But then when we look at like Meg Thee Stallion getting drunk and beating up her boyfriends, that's toxic masculinity, even though that's a woman doing it. You know what I mean? So I don't assign it only to the gender. It's just about traits assigned to the genders in an insecure, toxic form.
But see, that's the
Well,
problem is
on
because
the
the
Meg
gender
on the Meg
allows
situation, I just want to say on the Meg situation, I would still call that toxic femininity because it's deemed that she's able to do these things and a man shouldn't be able to touch
right. I was just about to say that, Paul.
it.
That's where the problem with the gender comes in, is because there are certain behaviors that are just for whatever reason by society accepted. If if a man is getting in an argument with his woman and his woman is slapping him, you're dumb, that's what you get. I'm tired of this and that. Other women will be like, that's right, girl. And men will just walk by and be like, I wonder what he did. But if it's the other way around, she could really did something that's really, really messed up to him. She could just for whatever it could be, and he can have an identical emotional reaction and be yelling at her, girl, bitch, and people will walk up and get out. Hey, you can't be yelling at her, bro. This is a female. What are you doing? So it's that double standard that's there that doesn't allow men to be human.
I don't think it's toxic femininity until you use the assumed perception of innocence, right? So if a woman just beats on a man or she hits her man and she don't call the police or whatever it is, and she just is abusive, then that's toxic masculinity. But the moment she calls the police because he hit her back, then that's toxic femininity. It's like to me, it's not until you use that assumed perception of innocence to get power that I
See,
consider
that's the
toxic
thing. Is
femininity.
what I'm saying is that's how society works. Is that a lot of judges have started to come out and saying they're encouraging men to file domestic abuse charges against their spouses because men don't do it. No man wants to
Right.
call the police and be like, my woman over here beating my ass. You know what I mean?
You know, it's the first. It's the first come first serve thing right now. Like
Oh, that's
if
California.
you,
You ever get the phone first? The other one
yes,
in the
I
pen.
don't know.
yes.
I don't know,
Like
bro.
I'm
Well,
glad
I
they doing it
guess.
now. I didn't seen it happen. I didn't see dudes call the police or women before. That's good. Call it. Don't put yourself in harm's way. Go ahead. Call.
But what do you do when they? What do you do
Whoever call the
when
police
you
first
call them?
wins.
911. Hello, my wife is my girlfriend is beating on me. I feel threatened for my life. Can you get someone around here right now? Yes, she's coming through the door right now. I think she has a weapon. Click.
Uh, I'm sure. Uh, I'm sure the way that those phone calls probably would go in a
I think
hypothetical
that's
scenario is,
right.
"Hello, 911. Can you guys send someone over here? My wife, my girlfriend, whoever is acting extremely belligerent, and I'm trying to refrain from hitting her back. and creating a worse situation. Blah, blah, you know what I mean? Along the lines like that.
Yeah.
You gotta cover your
And then
own
when they
That's,
get
that's
over,
no,
background. You
I don't
dig?
like that. I don't like that. That's not frantic enough. You don't
yeah,
sound
yeah.
threatened to
And the
me.
reason,
You need to be frantic.
the reason why is because most men know that if he punch her in the nose, it's over. She gonna stop.
Yeah,
It's over.
but
Most men know that
But
they can subdue a woman very easily. And that's why, unless you go get a gun or something or a knife or something like
hold,
that, then I can say,
hold
hey,
on,
y'all need to
hold
hurry
on,
up because if
hold.
she stabs you with this
I
knife, I'm
gotta
gonna
ask
kill this
this.
bitch.
I
You know
gotta,
what I mean?
I gotta ask this now. I gotta put this in perspective, right? Because everybody, we always talk about how men can overpower women. Men are stronger than women. We don't seem to ever talk about or take into consideration those big ass broads with them little ass niggas. Like, if the chick is like maybe I don't know 5'7", 200 or 189 pounds, maybe 200 pounds, whatever. I want to be realistic, not necessarily over exaggerate the size of a tall woman. And you got a guy who's like my height, 5'6", maybe 160 pounds, maybe he's 145 pounds. If he's defending himself up against a woman, can people still say that he shouldn't do it because he's a man and he's stronger than her? I mean, when we
is he really
think
stronger
about it,
than her? Say it's one of them Amazon looking chicks. She is tall as shit. He one of them short boys, 5'1" type niggas. And she just, she hawked that dude. Like, are we supposed just because he's a man, he has a bra?
I don't know, Paul. And the reason I say I don't know, Paul, is because I didn't see some 5-foot little short dudes knock out the big 6-foot, 200-pound dudes. So I don't
no,
know.
I'm talking in a situation where the woman is beating this little nigga's ass.
Oh, you
Yeah, like she just,
That's what I'm
she
talking
did
about.
she just,
then in that situation,
in the reference of Color Purple, she just keeps Sophia in this nigga. Like,
Right. What? At what point he said, "Well, no, he's a man. He's not." Is it because he's a man? But see, in some cases, we'll say he's a man and he's stronger. But because now he's a man. I don't see what a 145 or 160-pound man is going to really do a whole lot of damage to a woman who's like 5'8", damn near 200 something odd pounds. One that is not a soft girl. I'm not talking about because you
that's what
got
I'm
them
saying.
soft,
Because
you
just
got some
biology is on
feminine
our
women.
side as men.
Yeah,
Biology
but
is
you
on
got
our
what
side as men. We got stronger, we got denser bones, better lung capacity, more muscle definition, more testosterone. Just biology is still on our side. That's the same way you can see a short little punk dude, he be a rapist and he out raping women. And it's like, how you get raped by the little, you know what I mean? It's too nuanced. I'll say that. There's too many nuances for that.
I was just thinking because I date a lot of women I've dated. Most of them have been bigger than me. Most of them,
Because you small,
not
Paul.
all, but most. Yeah, I just kind of like big girls. Yeah. But I like all women. Period. I just put it like that. I just put it like that. I don't want nobody thinking you got to be a Sasquatch bitch for me to fucking approach you.
Oh man.
Well, this was fun. I got about
Yeah, I'm
40
just
minutes
thinking the
left.
conversation did kind of wind down. We lost Brody, we lost Mudiwa. Neo either
Yeah.
sleep playing Call of Duty or something.
shit, I don't know what happened, but it's about that mark anyway. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna end this show. And I'm in the live, so I'm not saying I'm in the actual chat.
Mudiwa
What do
just
I
came
came
back.
for? What do
Mudiwa
I?
work
What,
you work on weekends, Mudiwa?
damn, Moody. I'm still in the live. It was nice talking to the peoples. You know what I mean? The chat is still gonna go on. This is the back chat saga. It never is.
Right. I'm gonna probably I only got an hour in, so I might keep streaming mine for a little longer.
Mine's is an hour and 49, going into 50 minutes, so I can end this show.
Right.
All right.
Maybe we can get it.